Hey guys, it's Arai here. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time. I I don't even know if I uploaded a video at all last year. Like honestly, I could not remember. If you hear a sound, it's the wind because it is whipping outside. It's like January in Jersey. It's cold. But so I decided to tell you about my favorite books of 2024. It's going to be like the top 10 books I have of 2024, which to be honest was fairly easy to come up with. I did have some books where I was like, well, maybe I want to add this in or add that in. But honestly, no. Like, I had quite a bit of 5 stars, but they weren't my favorites. So let's go ahead and get into it because these are the books that made me cry, made me laugh. Oh, all the feels, all the feels. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. So book number 10. Oh, by the way, this is going from 10 to 1. So in case you needed to know. So the first book I'm going to talk about is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now I own this book and normally I would hold it up for you, you would see it. I can't find it. It is in here. It is probably on my shelf somewhere, but I genuinely cannot find it. And it's funny because I put all of the books that I thought would be my favorite books. I put them to the side as the year like went on, and I can't find it. I can't find it at all. It is lost. um so it's gonna be there somewhere. I will find it eventually. Sorry if you can hear in the background, but my family's home, so they're kind of talking, so sorry. They're loud. But, yeah. Anyway, so this one follows our female main character who is basically traded by her family as a peace offering between the vampires and the werewolves. So in this world you have 3 different, I guess you call them factions. So you have the werewolves, you have the humans, and then you have the vampires. And the wolves and the vampires have been at war for a very long time. And as a way of making peace, the leader of the werewolves and like a she's the daughter of the leader of the vampires, but they've been exchanging people for a while now. So they have somebody from like higher up, and then they have somebody else from another faction higher up, and then they exchange people as like a way to keep the peace. Well, she is now the sacrificial lamb. And it's interesting because she spent her childhood among humans because that's who she was treated to as a child. And now, as an adult, her dad comes and finds her and he's like, yeah, well, we need you to do it again and you're going to go to the werewolves. And she really doesn't want to, but she agrees because she's trying to find her best friend. And the last person who she believes has seen her best friend is the leader of the wolves, Lore. And so she agrees to, marry him. And the story kind of goes from there. It is a vampire werewolf love story. It's really funny. It's so cute. I love Lore's sister, his little sister. She's so cute. It's I love it. It's fantastic. It's like swoon worthy. It's a little bit spicy, but it's not like overly spicy. I enjoy Lore and Misery's like back and forth and like their, because it's not necessarily like, oh well, I love you automatically. It's them learning each other, and it is a found mate, like a fated mate relationship, but it's also just them learning each other and understanding their differences and how to make it work between the two of them, because obviously he's a werewolf and he can go out in the day and she can't. So it's just those kind of dynamics that they have to navigate through the story. It's so sweet. Okay, so that's what I thought. So book number 9 is another book. This one I don't own. It's not that I can't find it. I don't own it yet, which I don't know why I haven't bought it, but I don't own it yet. And this one is Twisted Heathens by J. Rose. So this one I read very early in 2024. It was very quickly one of my favorite ones. It's a reverse harem mental institution romance. So it follows this girl named Brooklyn who gets sent to this mental institution because she basically killed somebody. And so she's in this really bad place, and someone comes and they tell her, hey, we can help you, we'll send you to Blackwood Institute, and if you go there you can get the opportunity to get an education, go to college, try and live your best life and be rehabilitated. Well, Brooklyn, since what happened when she went to the institute to begin with, she has been trying to commit suicide. So trigger warnings for suicide, by the way. And so she doesn't plan to live to the anniversary of the death of the person that I don't know if she killed them yet. Spoilers, don't know if she killed them yet, if she actually killed them. So, I haven't read book 2 yet. But, so she doesn't plan to live past that anniversary, but she knows at Blackwood Institute she'll have more freedom to do things than she does where she is currently, so she agrees. And when she gets there, she meets these guys. So it's Phoenix, Eli, Hudson, and why can I not remember his name? I can't remember the other guy's name, but it's the one she meets first. And he is actually Hudson's brother. Now, Hudson, we very quickly find out Brooklyn hates because he is part of the reason why she ended up where she did. And he blames her, she blames him. It's a whole history going on there. But yeah, so you have Eli, who he doesn't talk, and then you have Phoenix, who he used to be like a gang leader, and he was hooked on drugs, so that's how he ended up there. And then Eli, he ended up there because he was very much similar to Brooklyn, but now he tries to find other ways to appease his mental illness. And then Hudson, he ended up being adopted by a family, but by that point he felt like he was unworthy because of all the bad stuff he did. And then Hudson's brother, which is gonna bother me that I can't remember his name right now. Hold on, I will find his name. Yeah, okay. So his name's Cade. That's the other brother. So she meets Cade first, and he seemed perfectly fine. And then you have Hudson, who's his brother, and then I explained all that. So it's her and these 4 guys, and then one coming to grips with the fact that she does not plan on surviving. Also, I have changed the way this looks, so sorry. Look change. Also, can you see my cup? Ignore the cup. We need a drink though. Anyway, so it's them trying to, 1, keep her alive, 2, figure out what's really going on with this school, because it has some sketchy stuff happening underneath these, this college rehabilitation place facade. There's some sketchy things going on. But as you'll see with one of my later books, this was kind of a phase for me. This was my mental institution reverse harem era. But this one, 5 stars. If you like dark reverse harem, why choose? But also make it so that every main character or male main character makes you kind of bleed for them. Even every main character, not even just the males. Brooklyn too is pretty sad. But if you like where your main characters make you bleed for them and make your heart hurt, you will like this book because it is that good. I, I gotta fix you because you are now too high. Okay, we've had a little bit of a change. I don't know if this is better. It's better for me. So I guess that's what works. Ignore my iPad back here. I was watching like Larry Reed's video for Onyx Storm. Spoilers. I have not read it yet, but I need to. Just going there. We're just going there. Alright. So my number 8 book, I have it here. I'll take this off so you can actually see the book. But my number 8 book is the Beauty and Lies series by Adelaide Forrest. So, this book, it's a 4-part series. So, this is my, I can't even remember. I think it's Mystic Box. Mystic Box? Is it Mystic Box? Yes. This is my Mystic Box edition. So, I didn't buy the, like, actual book. I might still, honestly, because I hate reading special editions. And I did want to do a reread. That's why I had it in the book sleeve. But I hate reading the special edition. Anyway, as I was saying. So, Beauty and Lies. So this one is an age gap, mafia, captor-captive romance. So, if you don't know, or if you do know me, those are all my, like, red flag trigger words. I love all of those things. So this follows Issa, and she is, I want to say she's either 16 or 17 when the book starts, and it's the first time that Rafe sees her. So he goes to her hometown in Chicago, because this coincides with Adelaide Forrest Chicago Mafia series. I can't remember what it's called. I've only read the first one. But anyway, as I was saying, so it follows Issa, and when I think she's 16. I want to say she's 16. It's the first time Rafe sees her. Now, Rafe, or Rafael Ibarra, is a mafia, basically, kingpin. And he runs from, I want to say, so he basically runs Ibiza. And he comes to Chicago for business, and he sees her, and he is immediately obsessed with her and decides that he wants her, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to get her. So he agrees to wait until she becomes of age, and at that time it will be up to him to do whatever it takes to get her. And everybody agrees, the local mafia agrees and everything. And so that's what happens. So he plants somebody in there to stay with her, to make sure she doesn't end up in any relationships, to protect her, make sure she doesn't get hurt, anything. And then he sets this up to where he gets her to go to Ibiza. And when she gets there, they just happen to meet and hit it off. And as the story goes on, he basically kidnaps her because she kind of realizes something odd is going on, and she tries to leave, and yeah, he does not agree with that. And so he takes her home, and he doesn't live in Ibiza. He actually lives on an island adjacent to Ibiza, and it's been in his family for a very long time. And everyone on this island knows him, but they also love him because he is not the same kind of tyrant as his father was. And so they all help him to basically keep her on this island and convince her to fall in love with him, pretty much. And as the series goes on, because I love the whole series, honestly. Like, book 1 was a 5-star for me, but I think only one of them I gave 4 stars, and the rest were 5 stars. I think book 2 I gave 4 stars, and then the rest of them I gave 5 stars. I'm almost positive. It's either book 2 or 3, one of those. But it's so good. The karma is real in this series, I'm gonna be honest. Because some of the characters, like, I was sitting there, I was hating them, and then the things that happened to them, the karma of it all was fantastic. I loved it. So this was definitely one of my favorite series of the year, and this was also the second thing I read in 2024. Like, the first thing I read was like, meh, it was good, but it wasn't amazing. But then I picked this up. Ugh, so fantastic. Loved it. Amazing. Alright, so now we're on to number 7. I gotta grab it. So number 7, now I knew this would be one of my favorite books of the year because some of the other books excuse me, because some of the other books in the same series were some of my favorite books for 2023. But I didn't realize how hard this book would hit me. And that is God of War by Rina Ken. This book. Oh, this book. So, this follows Eli and Ava. Now, Eli is, if you've read the Royal Elite, yeah, the Royal Elite series by Rina Ken, Eli is Aiden and Elsa's, well, one of Aiden and Elsa's son. Their other son is Cretan, who is the main character of the second book in this series, The Gods of Legacy, which is God of Pain. But this one follows Eli. And Ava is the daughter of Silver and Cole. Which is, I think this is the very last book in the Royal Elite series. So, in this story, you follow Ava, and you know she has had a crush on Eli for forever, since they were little kids. But he's never really given her the time of day. He's older. He's not really paid that much attention to her. He's even gone out of his way to kind of, like, hurt her, to get her to not like him anymore. And then as you go through the series, or as you go through the book, you realize there's more going on with her than meets the eye, and she kind of has some other issues going on. And in this book, you started off where she wakes up from an accident and she realizes that Eli is her husband, and they have been married for, I think it's like 2 years, or maybe a little bit more, but I think it's 2 years that they've been married, and he basically has complete control over everything in her life. Like, he doesn't allow her to go certain places alone. Well, he doesn't allow her to go anywhere alone, but she can't talk to certain people. She's not allowed to eat certain things. They sleep in separate bedrooms. He, like, has power of attorney over her medically, so he controls her doctors, like her medicine she takes, all these things. And she doesn't understand what happened in those 2 years that caused her to basically sign over her life to this man. And it's a double-edged sword, because it's everything she's ever wanted. I mean, she's gotten the man that she wanted, but at the same time, it's odd that they would all of a sudden be together when, are they really together? They sleep in separate bedrooms. And then, are they really together because he's very cold towards her? And things just don't seem to add up. And so she kind of makes it her mission to rebel against him, which further draws him in. And then as the story goes on, you kind of realize the things he does to protect her. And it's so sad. It's so heartbreaking, but it's also so loving and sweet. And it was so good. It was so good. I've already reread it once. I kind of want to reread it again now that I'm talking about it. But God of War, you need to pick it up. Pick up the rest of the series. But I'm going to be honest with you. I did not read... What's the first one? I think God of Malice is the first book. I still have not read it. I own it. I have it. I haven't read it. I did not read them in order at all. The first book in the series that I read was God of Wrath. And I liked that one, but that wasn't my favorite one. I actually liked God of Fury and God of Ruin. Those were my 2 favorite books from 2023. So If you don't mind not reading it in order, I don't mind you not reading it in order. This is a fantastic book, honestly. I don't know if this one beats out God of Fury as my favorite book in the series. I'm not positive on that. I'll have to think really hard on it, but it's so good. It's so good. You want to pick it up. Alright, so I feel like the book in the number 6 spot will come as no surprise to many people, but it's kind of late to the game. And honestly, I am late to the game because I did not want to pick this book up and like it. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I picked it up, I thought I was gonna hate it, and I did not. I did not, which is great. You know, I never want to not like a book, but it's also bad because, you know, the FOMO and the like the tragedy pain of these is real. And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So I read Fourth Wing for the first time last year. I actually have a vlog of it. I don't know if I even want to edit it because it's kind of manic. I was reading it while I was at work, so it's a little bit like I have angry rants going on in there. So I don't know if you guys will even see it. Maybe I'll film me reading Onyx Storm and then add that on, because I actually only finished Iron Flame in November, like late November, early December. So, and I had started that right after I had finished Fourth Wing, but I didn't actually read it. So maybe I'll do that and just like put them all together, even though they're like a year apart. But Fourth Wing. So I feel like everybody and their mama's mama knows what Fourth Wing is about, but I'll tell you. So it follows Violet Sorrengail, who has always wanted to be a scribe, but when she comes of age and it's time for her to go to college for whatever she's going for, instead of going to the scribe quadrant, she ends up going to the dragon riders quadrant, because her mother, who is the general at this college, basically tells her, you have no choice, you are not going to be a scribe, you are going to be a dragon rider. And she basically has no choice but to agree. And she gets there and she thinks, I'm not going to survive this. I am going to do everything I can, but I may not make this. And she survives. Long story short, through like cunning, wit, snark, and a little help from Xaden. But it's fantastic. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Iron Flame, which I know a lot of people didn't like, I really liked it. I didn't give it 5 stars. I gave it 4 stars. But I really liked it as well. So we'll have to see where we go with Onyx Storm. I do own it. My brother has it right now because he's reading it, because I got him obsessed with Fourth Wing. But I have the audio, so. But yeah, Fourth Wing. It was just, I feel like it needs no explanation. I feel like a million people have talked about this book. But yeah, I also own multiple copies. This is not my original copy. This is just the nicer one. So I thought I'd show you this one. And plus my other copies are like buried under, actually this is not my nicest copy. My nicest copy is over there. But they're in places. So, Fourth Wing. Alright, so the next book was one that completely surprised me. I honestly picked it up randomly, and I don't own it. Well, I do own it. Let me take that back. That was so wrong. I do own it. I cannot find it, which is funny because I literally just had it, and now I can't find it. If you could see the stack of things, I've kind of been like tearing up my room a little bit, trying to find other stuff. Like my pens, because I have like a huge collection of gel pens and I can't find them either. I've been pulling things out and just kind of throwing them everywhere, so it's around here somewhere. I will find it. I know I will, but I don't know where it's at. And so the book I'm talking about is Love, Murder, Basketball by oh, I don't even know the author's name. I'm probably gonna butcher it. Karuta Hito? There you go. So it follows Shoto, who is the son of a Yakuza boss, and he is very quiet. He's very nerdy. He doesn't like to interact with a lot of people. He's very introverted. He'd rather be home playing video games and be alone. And it follows Goro, who is the complete opposite. He's a basketball star. He is on his way to being famous. He has very famous parents. Like, I think his mom is a famous model or fashion designer, and then his dad is a famous basketball player himself. And they have very high expectations for their son. So they hold him to this really difficult standard to achieve because they expect perfection. And they met when they were kids, and they have always kind of been attracted to each other, but like I said, Goro's parents have very high expectations for him, and they expect him to be, one, with a woman, and two, to be with a perfect, like, a woman from a perfect family. There you go. And that is just not Shoto at all. So I will be honest, volume 1 I gave 3 stars. I did not like it. And if you look for the print copies, volume 1 is the only one that's out in print, and I did not love it. I didn't understand it. Like, it felt very like BDSM-esque controlling, and don't get me wrong, I love a good BDSM. But I felt like it was just not everything. Like, it didn't have enough explanation in volume 1 for it to make sense. And then I actually picked it up on Webtoons because I don't know, something said, okay, give it more of a chance, and I literally blew through it in like 2 days. I probably could have did it in 1, but I was up till like 2 in the morning, and I was like, okay, we need to go to sleep. So I got up the next day and I picked it back up and I finished it. It was so good. It was so good. It's not completed yet. They're like, the author is taking a bit of a break, so I'm waiting for the next one. But it was so good. It was so good. I couldn't put it down. Fantastic. It's so sad because as you read it, you realize how much trauma Shoto has from his family. So his family, like I said, he's the son of a Yakuza boss, but also his family has been very abusive towards him. They don't respect him, but he is probably one of the smartest, strongest people in his family, but he doesn't like the violence that comes with being part of the Yakuza, even though he's the best out of all his brothers. And I should probably explain a little bit more. So the way it works is his family is in tiers of the Yakuza. So every tier has a color, and like Shoto is white, which is top tier. That's your espionage, information gatherers, assassins. That's his tier. That's what he ran. And when he left, even though he's now gone and his dad has let him leave, his tier is still running perfectly, whereas his brother's tiers are imperfect and flawed. So even though he's not there, his rank or his tier is following still his orders and is running smoothly. That's how fantastic he is. And so his dad is under the assumption that one day he's going to come back and he's going to take over because he is that good. But Shoto has other issues, and he has a little bit of a dissociative identity disorder going on. It's a lot of things going on there. And it's like a lot of mutual trauma in his family that it's so sad. It's so sad, but it's so good. And then Goro, like, part of it is like his parents kind of suck and they expect so much from him, and then part of it too is like he just wants Shoto to be so safe and to take care of him and make him happy, and it's so good. It's so good. If nothing else you pick up from this, please pick that up, because I didn't think I was gonna love it and I became obsessed. I shouldn't say that. Nah, I still kind of mean that. Alright, let's move on to number 4, because I'll talk about this forever. It was so good. Remember how I was talking about my reverse harem, Why Choose, institute type romance obsession era that I had in 2024? This contributed to that obsession. So this is Sinful. This is book 4? Actually, no, I think it's book 5. Can't remember. So it's 4. This Church Bells, Ashes, Stitches, and then Sinful. So book 4 in the Chapel Crest series. So good. So I should probably explain the beginning. So this is book 4. I gave it 5 stars. It was fantastic. It made me cry. It was so sad. But let me actually explain the series. So the series follows Serena, who as a little girl was nearly murdered by her best friend and left for dead in a shed. And the best friend's family literally packed up that same day and moved to a different town. And so nobody knew she was in the shed for hours. And when they finally found her, she was almost dead. They saved her, but from that point on, she never talked ever again. So she's not like despondent. It's not like she doesn't do things, but she doesn't talk at all. And they've taken her to therapists. Her family has taken her to therapists. They've tried to get her to talk. Her sister is the only person who really still believes in her. And so her stepdad ends up deciding that he's going to send her to this college / institution called Chapel Crest. And it's there that you're supposed to go to like therapy sessions and attend classes, and it's like, it's an institution. So she gets there, and as soon as she gets there, these guys called the Watchers become obsessed with her. The first one is Church, and he's like their leader, and he is obsessed with her. And then it follows with Ashes and Stitches, and also Sin. So but Sin in the very first book does her dirty and betrays her. And so this book is about them rebuilding their relationship and him kind of proving how much he loves her. Oh, so good. It's so good. So good. I can't enough. I can't explain it enough how good this is. I had so many like tear up, cry moments in this book, because Sin in the first book, right after he does it, he feels remorse and he tries to take it back, but by that point it's already too late. And so when you get to this point in this book, it's like it's after he's like tried to repent, he's like gone through self-mutilation to try to forgive himself for everything that he's done. And Serena, from the beginning, she never wanted him to hurt, and she cared about him. So as the series has gone on, not the book, as the series has gone on, she's like watched him hurt himself and make himself sick, because he's felt so bad for what he did, but his friends have not forgiven him. So, and they have reason to, because what he did in the first book led to a domino effect of a lot of other things happening, and it was all because he just couldn't accept his feelings for her. Now, if you read the novella, which I have not, and I don't think you need to, but take my word with a grain of salt, because I haven't read it, but if you read the novella, you'll understand a little bit better why he did not want to fall in love with her. He has trust issues, but then all the guys have issues, so I don't want to go too much in depth, but Church, he I don't want to tell his secret, but basically he is the violent one, and then Ashes has like a firebug issue, and then Stitches is he's ADHD, but he's also manic depressive. And then there's a couple of other guys in here that we have not properly established a relationship with, but we're getting there. We're getting there. And this book, or this series, kind of borders on the paranormal along with the realistic. So like there's certain things in here that, or there's certain times in these books where you'll think, wow, they can read each other's minds, or they can see what's going to happen. And sometimes it makes you think that, and then sometimes you're like, wait, am I crazy? Is that real? It can't be real. But it's interesting. They get very, very dark, so do remember that if you're going into this. But it's so good, and I love this so much. This whole series has been like fantastic, but this one, I know you gotta read the rest of the series before you can get to this one, and this one is a chunker. It is a chunky book. It's 500 pages. 524 pages. But it's so good. It's worth all 524 of those pages, because you need it. So good. Alright. So number 3. Ooh, we are making it through this. Alright. I feel like 2024 was like my year of catching up on like booktube favorites that I have owned but have not read. And with that in mind, I read the Mind F series by S.T. Abbey. So this book, I have heard so many people talk about this book so many times, and I had planned on reading it, and then I just never did. And I don't know why. Maybe I found it intimidating because, I don't know, it's a big book. Or maybe, I don't know. But I never picked it up. Well, I picked it up now. And I've gotten my older brother obsessed with it. He loves it. It's so good. It's so good. So this follows Lana. And as you read through the story, you find out her twisted past, and that she is out for revenge against all the people who have wronged her and destroyed her family. And you also meet Logan, who is an FBI detective, FBI agent, who is supposed to be finding the person committing all of these murders, aka Lana. And they meet by just a random chance at a coffee shop sitting outside, and they spark up a relationship. And so she very quickly realizes he is the person following in like her trail of murders, but he does not realize that she is the person committing the murders. She's so good at covering herself up that he believes for quite a while, almost the whole series, that it's a man committing these murders and not a woman. She's so good. She's so good. She is definitely one of my favorite female characters I've ever read. Just her thought process, the way she does things. Oh, it's so fantastic. And the way that she is doing them, but she has a purpose. She has an angle. And it wasn't ever about, oh, I'm just out to get revenge. It's also to right some wrongs that are still being done within this town that she grew up in. And it's just so fantastic. It's so freaking fantastic. And I could not put it down. I literally read this in 2 days. I read it while I was at work. Actually, I think I might have like footage from me reading it, so I don't know, but it was so good. It was so good. I could not. And like when you read about the things that happened to her and her family and how sad it was, and that there was no real reason for it except for greed and jealousy and cruelty, like, ugh, and how corrupt your government can be. Like, the people who you elect, your elected officials, how corrupt they can be and how much they will do just to cover up and save themselves. You know. You know. Read this. Read this. Alright. So, I'm going to be honest with you. For these last two, I could not pick a number one. Like, I tried. I did. And I sat there and I was like, well, this one feels like a number one. And then this one felt like a number one. And I cannot. So I'm going to show them to you both at the same time, but I'm only going to talk about one at a time. So, in the grand scheme of things, tie for number one goes to The Lovely Return by Carrie Ann Cole and Jealousy by Scarlett Barreto. So these two are very different in a lot of ways and very not different in a lot of ways, which I think also added to the hardness of describing them. So I'm going to talk about, I don't even know which one I want to talk. Let's do this one first because it's in my left hand and that's my dominant hand. So, The Lovely Return by Carrie Ann Cole. This book, I was sobbing. The tears were pouring. Okay? So, I could not. And I'm gonna be honest, when I got like a certain part into it and it felt like, oh, this is slowing down, it's gonna take me a while, it did not. I literally picked this up at night, read it through the night into the next morning, and finished it. Sobbing, pouring, okay, snot running. It was not cute. It was not cute. But nobody saw it but me, so it's okay. So this follows Alex, and you start off the story with him and his wife, and she's pregnant, and she goes into labor, and they're racing to the hospital. As they're going down the road, they live on a steep hill, and it's snowy. So, as you can probably figure out, his wife ends up passing away, and so you flash forward, I think it's like 10 years, I want to say. I don't know, it's quite a few years later. I want to say 10. And this little girl named Penny Rose shows up at Alex's house because she is driving down the road with her mom, and she tells her mom to stop because they need to go back to her house. She wants to go back to her house. And so her mom stops the car. Penny Rose gets out and walks to this house and says, "This is my home. I need to be here." And it's Alex's house. And Alex ends up meeting Penny Rose, and they like hit it off, but literally she's like a 5 or 8-year-old girl at that time. And so like they spark up like a little bit of a friendship where he lets her come to his house and play with his dog and that kind of thing. And come to find out, she actually lives on the other side of his house. And as the story goes on and Penny Rose gets older and her and Alex continue their friendship, she starts to say things and do things and know things that nobody knew but Alex's wife. And so it's, how does she know those things? They happened before she was even born. And where did this girl come from? Why is she so obsessed with this house and this dog and this man that she shouldn't even know? And things that she should never have known about when she was a 3, 4, 5-year-old girl, she has been telling her parents her whole life. And they've taken her to therapists, they've sent her to different doctors, and nobody can explain why she knows these things or why she says these things. Like, Alex's wife used to collect certain things out of the trash so she can give them to Alex because he made art out of like people's junk. And so when Penny was a little girl, she used to collect like can openers and random things because she said she was saving them for her husband. Now, what 3-year-old girl is saying she's saving stuff for her husband? It's so good. It's so heartbreaking. It's like, it brings up the question of reincarnation, true love. Can love survive even death? Is there such a thing as soulmates? And it's so sad too because so many people in her life make her feel like she's going crazy. Like she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's making things up. But some of the things that she's saying, oh, actually the majority of the things that she's saying, there's no other way she could know them unless she was someone else. And so it's just, it's so good. Like I said, sobbing. Like, I feel like this catchphrase does it all. What if death doesn't do you part? Ugh. It's so good. It's so good. It gave me chills. It was fantastic. I want to do a reread, but I also know if I reread this, I'm going to start to cry, and I don't want to cry. So, I don't know if I'm going to reread it, but it's one of those books that I can never see me getting rid of because it's just that good. It's just that good. And I love Carrie Ann Cole's writing. She is definitely one of my favorite authors, one of my like auto-buy authors. And this book like cemented it for me. So good. It's so good. If you pick nothing else up from Carrie Ann Cole, well, Don't Kiss the Bride is really good as well. I also like Tide. I like Torn. I know, hot take. I also like, let me stop, because this is a gush about Carrie Ann Cole. But if you pick nothing else up by Carrie Ann Cole, I would pick this up, because it's just too good. Alright, and then for my final book I'm going to talk about Jealousy by Scarlett Barrico. So this is actually a manga. And it's a series. This is actually the last book in the series. Volume number 5. 5? Yes, 5. And the series did me in. This one follows Akatori, which is him, and Uichi, which is him. And it's a romance that spans decades, if that makes sense. So Akatori starts off the story and he is a thrill seeker. He does whatever it takes to basically get his high out of life. You know, he doesn't do drugs, but he is somebody who can't sit still. He has to be doing something, and he wants something thrilling and exciting, and Uichi kind of fills that role for him from the very beginning because he is a mafia boss. So they meet and they like flirt with each other, they have a good banter, but nothing really happens. And then something happens because Uichi ends up saving Akatori from like a guy who was trying to hurt him, and then some more things happen. Did my camera just do something weird? Camera, behave yourself. Oh, and then some more things happen, and then Akatori finds out that Uichi not only is a Yakuza boss, but he has a wife and a son. And so it's like, where do we go from here? And as you go through the story, it's like the expectations of what it means to be in the mafia or in the Yakuza, and like his wife, like he loves his wife. It's not that he doesn't, but then he loves this man too. And it's like, what do you do? How do you go on from that? And it's their story. and how do they navigate a love story that can't really be a love story, where there's not really a happy ending for them, or is there? And it's so good. It's so good. I got to this one, also crying, also crying. I took it to work with me and I was like tearing up, and I was like, oh, we don't want people seeing this. So I had to like finish it on my break when I wasn't around anyone else. So good. So good. One of my favorite books of the year, if not my favorite book of the year. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm happy with how it ended. Honestly, I don't think it could have ended any better than it did, and you just need to go pick this up. Like right now, you need to go buy all 5 volumes, binge read them, pick it up. Okay? Just pick it up. You will thank me later. All right? You're welcome. See, you're getting it early. You're welcome. Just go pick them up. Okay, guys, that is my 10 favorite books of 2024. I was not sure if I was even going to film this video, to be honest with you, but I did want to put it out there. I don't even remember if I did one last year. I would have to go back and look. I think I filmed one. I don't know if I actually posted it. So who knows if you'll actually see this one. But at least I filmed it. So I will talk to you guys in another video. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe if you want to. As usual, all the books will be linked down below if you decide you want to check them out. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Hopefully very soon, but no promises on that one, guys. No promises. Yeah. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.